As I've told you many times, the United States has one of the highest two incarceration rates in the world, along with North Korea. However, there are some U.S. states that have managed to significantly reduce their prison populations over the last 10 years, and we now have data about what the effect was on crime in those states. And it turns out that states that have most drastically reduced their prison populations over the last 10 years saw their crime rates decrease by significantly more than the national average. This is according to a new report by the Sentencing Project. The experiences of New York, New Jersey, and California demonstrate it is possible to achieve substantial reductions in mass incarceration without compromising public safety. That is according to the report. Between 1999 and 2012, state prison populations in all 50 states increased by about 10%. States continue to rely on drug war type policies, harsh sentencing, mandatory minimums, etc. But New York and New Jersey simultaneously bucked the trend, each decreasing their prison population by 26% during the same period. Now, nationally, crime rates decreased during this period, but in New York and New Jersey, crime rates decreased significantly more than the national average. California saw a decrease of prison population of to the extent of 23%. They also saw crime decrease by significantly more than the national average. Now remember, even with their reduced incarceration rates, all three of these states still have very high incarceration rates compared to any other industrialized nation. But let's think about this. Reduce incarceration, crime goes down. Why might that happen? It actually makes total sense. We've talked about this before, Lewis, and it's similar to the effect of increasing the minimum wage, right? When you think of the effect on the community of a high incarceration rate, it's easy to see why crime would be high. If children have parents in prison, it is more likely that they will get involved in criminal activity and someday end up in prison. More crime. If more people are in prison, it's more likely some percentage of them will become career criminals while in prison. They will become hardened, radicalized, use whatever term you want. And once out of prison, they will commit more crimes. At every step of the evaluation, it's obvious why more mass incarceration, particularly for nonviolent offenses, would actually lead to more crime in the long run, or in this case, a smaller reduction in crime.
Right. Makes sense to me. And when we talk about how much money we're spending too, there are just so many reasons why we should not have such a huge incarceration rate.
No, that's actually the fiscal argument is an interesting one as well, which is if you have so many people in prison, the cost for that incarceration goes up, and thus the amount of money available for other things goes down, including community initiatives that would reduce crime. And we could talk about what those are. There's any number of them. I mean, it's hard to even summarize. But in every single case, this makes perfect sense. So we clearly have determined that the policy of mass incarceration, the war on drugs, etc., doesn't reduce or deter crime. We've seen how it's not a fiscally conservative policy. And now we actually have evidence that a reduction in the rate of incarceration tends to have a positive effect on crime reduction. I don't know what else it's going to take to convince certain elements of our society. I think it's not really an issue of being convinced by the facts. I think it's an issue of maintaining the prison industrial war on drugs Wall Street complex.
That's it. The war on drugs has to end, and private prisons have to end as well.